What would you have done if foreign powers and local traders were planning to overthrow and assassinate Thomas Sankara, the most loyal revolutionary leader Burkina Faso ever had? Would you have spoken up? Would you have warned the world? Because now, in real time, that history is repeating itself. Only this time, the name is Ibrahim Traoré. Right now, foreign embassies, military commands, intelligence units, and their African collaborators are crafting a regime change blueprint so familiar it stinks of Gaddafi, Lumumba, and Sankara all over again. The US, the CIA, the EU, NATO, and AFRICOM. They have decided that Traoré must fall. Why? Because he dared to kick out the French, because he stopped the gold theft, because he's turning Burkina Faso into a sovereign state without asking permission. But what are they doing to execute a regime change operation against Ibrahim Traoré in Burkina Faso, and how should you be prepared? In this video, let's find out. The regime change operation against Ibrahim Traoré began the way all Western-backed overthrows tend to, with words. Not bullets, not tanks, not yet. First, the target must be delegitimized. First, a seed must be planted in the public mind that this leader is not a hero, but a villain. That he is not protecting his country, but stealing from it. That his supporters are not patriots, but misled sheep. It is the oldest trick in the imperialist playbook. Create the illusion of rot, then offer the axe. On April 3rd, 2025, that axe was sharpened when General Michael Langley, head of U.S. Africa Command, called AFRICOM, delivered a stunning statement before the U.S. Senate Armed Services Committee. With no formal intelligence presented, no cited source, and no material evidence, Langley accused Captain Ibrahim Traoré of using Burkina Faso's gold reserves not for development, but to protect his junta. The accusation landed like a grenade, not because it was substantiated, but because of who said it and where it was said. You should know that Langley wasn't just another commentator. He is the most senior military figure responsible for U.S. operations across Africa, speaking on record before the most powerful legislative body in the United States. His words were calculated, echoing decades of soft-coded colonialism. Demonize the leader, then sanitize intervention. In this case, he pointed to Burkina Faso's sovereign use of gold, a resource historically looted by France, now reclaimed by Traoré, and reframed it as a threat to regional stability. But why the sudden concern? The truth lies in Langley's other remarks, when he casually described the Sahel region not as an independent African territory, but as NATO's southern flank. That phrase, slipped between policy statements, reveals everything. This was not about humanitarian concerns, not about human rights, not about democracy. This was about the empire. For daring to build a refinery that processes gold inside Burkina Faso, rather than shipping it raw to Paris or Toronto, Traoré was marked. For using national wealth to build hospitals, fund farmers, and equip an army that takes no orders from the Pentagon, Traoré had crossed a red line. In the eyes of AFRICOM, his real crime was sovereignty. But what the West didn't expect was that Traoré would not only respond, but he would fight back. Captain Ibrahim Traoré didn't hesitate. He didn't convene a PR team or issue a polished statement through a lawyer. He sat down, live, raw, and unscripted, and turned a smear into a moment of truth. With calm rage, he laid bare a reality the world had never heard from Langley. Before his presidency, Burkina Faso didn't have a single gram of national gold reserves. Not one. The country that produces over 60 tons of gold a year had nothing to show for it. Where did it go? Western corporations, French banks. Development projects that never developed anything. So when Langley accused him of misusing gold, Traoré didn't just deny it. He reframed the entire narrative. He revealed that under his leadership, Burkina Faso began saving that gold, protecting it, and redirecting it for internal security and social development. Is it a crime to protect ourselves? He asked. Are we not free? But it wasn't just Langley's lie that stung. It was who told it. It hurts, Traoré said, not because he is American, but because he is a black man. His voice trembled, not with weakness, but with historical weight. He invoked the pain of watching black faces used to enforce the white empire, a centuries-old pattern where the colonized become the messengers of the colonizer. From Congolese mercenaries who helped kill Lumumba to Libyan proxies who hunted Gaddafi, the betrayal has always cut deeper when delivered by kin. Traoré didn't name Langley as a soldier. He named him as a symbol, the face of an old game wearing black skin. And in doing so, he did more than defend himself. He reignited the revolutionary spirit of Sankara. He echoed the same fire that once declared, "He who feeds you controls you." Except this time, the feeding hand has met a clenched fist. However, Langley's testimony was not the end. It was the first step. Like all imperial takedowns, the next phase involved optics, manipulation, and it began almost immediately. In the days that followed Langley's remarks, Western-aligned media platforms and influencer accounts began spreading reports of diaspora protests against Traoré in Paris, Lyon, and Montreal. The footage was limited, often blurry, and always centered around a few dozen individuals. But that didn't matter. The goal wasn't numbers. It was narrative. In Libya, the same method was used. Manufacture consent. Start with a whisper campaign. He's a dictator. The people want him out. His policies are dangerous. Then boost those whispers through partner news agencies and diplomats until they become gospel. By the time the tanks roll in, the world believes they are arriving to save democracy. Burkina Faso was now next in line. But the playbook wasn't just digital. On April 22nd, barely 3 weeks after Langley's Senate appearance, Burkina Faso's government announced it had thwarted an assassination attempt on Traoré's life. The suspected planners? Operatives based in Côte d'Ivoire, a country long seen as a Western proxy and now hosting the latest AFRICOM joint operation, Operation Flintlock. Here's where the plot thickens. Langley personally flew to Abidjan 2 days after the plot was revealed. AFRICOM soldiers were already stationed nearby. The Ivorian government, led by Alassane Ouattara, a darling of Paris and Washington, had quietly been receiving security briefings from NATO allies. Do you still think this was a coincidence? When you connect the dots, the smear, the coup attempt, the foreign presence, it's not hard to see what this is. Libya 2.0, the same choreography, the same cast, the same justification. Except this time, the regime change operation is collapsing. Because Africa is not what it was in 2011, and Traoré is not what Gaddafi was in 2011. He is younger, he is digitally backed, he is continentally loved. And his enemies? They are tired, exposed, and running out of disguises. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black Africa. Let's continue now. But a question arises here. What exactly has Captain Ibrahim Traoré done to spark such venom from Washington, Brussels, and Paris? Well, he did the one thing an African leader is never supposed to do. He broke the colonial contract. For decades, African leaders were taught the colonial subordinate role. Speak the language of reform while protecting the structures of dependence. Shake hands with the West, smile for cameras, and keep exporting raw resources for pennies while importing poverty at scale. It was a cycle so polished it appeared natural, until Traoré tore this structure apart. In less than 2 years, he rewrote the terms of Burkina Faso's existence. He expelled French military forces, ending decades of boots-on-soil neocolonial control. He terminated defense agreements, including those with the United States, declaring the country would not be a base for foreign agendas. He suspended military cooperation with AFRICOM, severing the invisible hand of Pentagon strategy. he banned the export of unrefined gold, a bold move that halted the centuries-old pipeline of wealth flowing silently to European banks. But he didn't stop at symbolism. Traoré built Burkina Faso's first gold refinery, demanding that what is mined in Faso be processed in Faso for Faso. He renegotiated foreign mining contracts, reclaiming majority stakes for local interests. He restructured the agricultural sector, provided machinery and seeds, and reached food production levels unseen in decades. And when the IMF came knocking, offering its familiar cocktail of loans and austerity, he turned them away. Instead of indebting future generations, he told his people, "We will feed ourselves, fund ourselves, defend ourselves." And he meant it. In a continent where so many governments are forced to beg for bread baked from their own grain, this level of self-sufficiency was revolutionary. Burkina Faso, under Traoré, wasn't just resisting exploitation. It was building an alternative, an economy that processes instead of exports, a military that protects instead of obeys, a government that serves instead of surrenders. That is his real crime. Because if one country in the Sahel can stand on its feet without French banks, American drones, or IMF spreadsheets, what's stopping the rest? This isn't about Burkina Faso anymore. This is about a contagion of courage. If it succeeds in Ouagadougou, the fear in Brussels is that it will spread to Bamako, to Niamey, to Kinshasa, to Nairobi. That African nations will begin to trust their own hands over foreign handouts. That they will walk away from the old plantation and build their own house. You see, the West does not fear a junta. It fears a domino. And Traoré? He is the first tile to fall in the right direction. General Langley might have thought he was attacking one man. Instead, he woke up a continent. Almost overnight, the smear campaign against Traoré backfired spectacularly. African youth, long disillusioned by puppet presidents, now had a symbol they could rally behind. A leader who stood firm, spoke plainly, and walked with the souls of Sankara and Lumumba at his side. In Ghana, students filled the streets chanting, "Traoré is Sankara." In Nigeria, massive signs declared, "Hands off Faso." In Liberia, placards read, "Traoré is Africa's firewall." In South Africa, the economic freedom fighters called Langley's words a declaration of war on black sovereignty. Even outside the continent, the echo grew louder. In London, diasporic youth gathered outside the US Embassy with megaphones and flags. In Toronto, community groups organized teach-ins on Burkina Faso's gold history. In Kingston, Jamaica, musicians released tribute songs to Captain Traoré, mixing reggae with revolution. But it wasn't just the streets. Online, the digital battlefield lit up with millions of voices. Hashtags like, "I stand with Traoré," "No more Libyas," and "Black sovereignty now" trended. TikTokers created viral edits comparing Western media coverage of Traoré with historical clips of Gaddafi and Sankara. Twitter threads exposed the long line of African leaders taken down under the banner of human rights, only to see their countries descend into chaos post-intervention. And then came the warnings. We've seen this movie before. You bombed Libya, you can't bomb our hope again. This time, Africa will bury the script. For the first time in decades, the usual propaganda machine was outpaced. The West's attempt to cast Traoré as a threat had instead built him into a continental icon. And in that process, the real narrative emerged, not about a junta, but about an entire continent rising to say, "Not again, not this time." The African public has learned its history, and this time, it's writing the ending. Now tell us, what will you say when they claim Traoré is a tyrant? Will you believe the same media that lied about Gaddafi in Iraq? In the comment section below, share your thoughts on the fact that leaders like Ibrahim Traoré desperately need people's support to survive, because every second they are fighting external pressure and threats. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We bring videos on Black Africa, its history, rich arts and culture, and things the world should know about. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.